So I'm going to talk about this carved figure that we discovered in the collection store during the production of a Solomon Islands exhibition here in 2016. I wanted to talk about her because she represents for me one of the things that I love most about working with museum collections, and that every now and then you will come across something in the collection that has somehow flown under the radar, despite being quite striking, like this little lady. When we found her, she was undocumented and we knew nothing about her. We did recognise some of her features as being from or in the style of Solomon Islands, so we decided that she had to be in our exhibition. When we found her, she was also quite badly damaged. So this arm here had broken off, the bowl had broken off into different pieces, and she was missing part of her nose as well. So our conservator at the time, Kate Stanway, she carefully restored her, and you can see some of the images of what she looked like before. So I do think that her expression softened slightly when she was put back together, but maybe that's just me. So you can see that she's a young woman and she's crouching. She's holding a bowl inlaid with mother of pearl shell above her head, and she's also got bands on her wrists and below her knees. She's also got incised patterns on her face, and she's got what looks like a ponytail that's coming out from the back of her head, and she's also got blue eyes. So a few of these features in particular are what interest me about her, and they might help in identifying where she was made or who made her. So the first thing, which is something that you might not notice straight away, are her blue eyes. So as you can see, she's got blue glass beads as eyes here. The colour blue, the use of glass beads wasn't uncommon, so it was traded around the region from at least the 18th century. And the colour blue was also produced locally in some areas as well. So the Solomons, for example, in places like Santa Isabel and South Maleta. So some of the early travellers as well recorded around the late 19th and early 20th century that blue trade items were favoured by women in the Solomon Islands, which I think maybe explains why the colour blue might be maybe a little bit less common in Pacific collections. So it interests me because I've never seen blue beads used like this on a figure before, and it's also quite interesting just to think about why the person who made this gave this Pacific Island woman blue eyes. Yeah, so the next thing here is the patterning on her face. So this is probably facial scarifications or tattoos. And you can see here that she's got this fringe band which runs down from her temple down to her nose. And the pattern here that's on her temple is probably a stylized frigate bird, which was a common design element sort of throughout Southwest Pacific in places like Solomon Islands and PNG. So the frigate bird usually signalled the presence of bonito fish at sea, and both of these animals played quite complex roles in my life, so socially, politically, spiritually. The next thing is this piece here that's protruding from the back of her head, which kind of looks like a ponytail. And you can see that it's got the same incised pattern as on her face. It also has mother of pearl shell inlaid on the top section here. I'm not really sure what this is. The only thing I can think of is that It's hair wrapped in bark cloth. So that was something that was described again in some of the early literature, where men in South Malaysia and Ulawa would wrap their hair in bark cloth after they had covered it in lime. And supposedly this was the pigtail or the ponytail that could be seen on the wood carvings that this particular author had seen at the time. So I'm aware of this being something that that was practiced by women. So if anyone's got information about this, I would love to hear about it. Yeah, so these features, they certainly don't confirm that she came from the Solomon Islands, but so things like scarification and tattooing on women was and is practiced throughout the Pacific. So this fringe band here on her face, for example, I have seen on women in early photographs in the Central Province PNG. Yeah, so discovery of objects like these and the subsequent research and documentation of them is what makes working in museums really fun. But I think it's also really important because it opens opportunities for people to connect with these things. So if you're interested, you can see more images of the blue-eyed lady on the museum's online catalogue.